Oh my god, the Hogwarts Legacy livestream was so good, you guys! The game is even better than I imagined, and it's going to come out around this Christmas.
I'm so happy.
I instantly fell in love with it and watched the livestream over and over. But I can't say the same for Peter Pan 2, and boy have I got a lot to say. Peter Pan 2 Return to Neverland was released in 2002 and reached a mixed bag of opinions. Nobody seems to remember it. I forgot about it until I reviewed Peter Pan, which was a classic Disney movie I didn't like. So without further ado, let's begin the plot synopsis. The story starts years after the first movie during World War II. Damn. Because of war, Jane, voiced by Harry Owen, has grown up early and doesn't believe in Peter Pan, which gets Wendy and her brother Danny mad at her. During the night, Captain Hook and his crew break into Jane's bedroom and kidnap her, taking her to Neverland. Spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, it's now 100% proven that Neverland is real in this universe. So these pilots, and the army people in the streets, definitely saw this big-ass ship flying in the sky. Even Wendy would have heard Captain Hook yelling outside the window like a banshee. So Captain Hook, who's voiced by Corey Burton, has the plan to use Wendy as bait to lure Peter Pan, but obviously to the viewer, Jane's not Wendy. So Peter Pan arrives and saves Jane, and Disney's fetish went from vor to bondage. If you watched the Pixie Hollow series, you'd realize that Disney contradicted themselves because according to those movies, pixies can't fly if they're contacted with water. Peter Pan, voiced by Blaine Weaver, takes Jane to the Lost Boys hideout and... wait. Oh my god, they actually have names.
Nibs, the twins! Stubby. And that's Toodle!
What the f***? After getting fed up with Peter and the kidnapped furries, Jane says she doesn't believe in fairies, making Tinkerbell slowly die. Jane then stumbles upon Hook and he manipulates her, giving her a whistle to signal him when she finds his treasure. When she does, he'll return her to London in return. And ignoring everything her mother said about him, Jane trusts him. The boys end up leading Jane to the treasure and deciding not to use the whistle. It gets found by one of the Lost Boys and they get captured. Wanting to save them, she goes to Tinkerbell and believes in fairies, saving her life. And instead of just stabbing Peter, they tie him to an anchor and plan to make him walk the plank. Predictably, Jane and Tinkerbell save the boys and kill Hook. The boys take Jane home, who now believes again, and Peter and Wendy are reunited. Better not tell your husband about this. The end. So let's talk about the movie. I guess all I can say is that it's kind of better than the original, but there's several other things from the first movie that I'd prefer over these, which I'll get to shortly, because I'll be going through the positives first. First positive is that I like how the setting is in World War II, which is like the perfect era for Jane to stop acting like a kid. It was rough times for everybody, and when a child is exposed to the chaos adults are facing, their childhood behavior starts to decrease. That's perfect for the whole believing in Neverland theme, which worked very well. You can even hear the tension and concern Wendy is trying to hide from her kids. I am surprised that Disney took the risk, given that's a very controversial topic nowadays. If you watched the first Peter Pan review, or simply looked at the thumbnail, you'll know that I don't really like Peter Pan. Seriously, I hate him so much. But in this movie, he's still the harassing trickster, but actually knows when to shut the hell up and stop. He even has the brains now to know that Tinkerbell was just jealous of Jane. The South Park woodland critters now actually have names, which it really doesn't matter if I forget them or not. The only one I remember is Guppy, and that's only because he gets a lot of screen time compared to the others. I like the reunion Wendy and Peter had at the end, and that even though Wendy grew up, she didn't stop believing. Tinkerbell is okay, still preferring the Pixie Hollow version, and at least in this movie she's not a big third wheel tool as she was in the previous. Anything else I'm forgetting? Nope, that's it. That's all of my positives. I'm surprised and not surprised. I knew there wasn't going to be a big $99 bundle pack of things I liked, but I kind of wish there was more than just 5. I probably would have been satisfied with 6, but oh well. First negative is that this Neverland doesn't change my opinion at all. I still can't see how it's the dream place, besides being an island-sized jungle gym. I feel that changing the crocodile to an octopus is just for fetish reasons, given the only thing the octopus does. I'm just excusing this for a bit because the crocodile wouldn't be able to drag down Hook's ship, which was a nice touch for the villain's ending. There you go, a 6 positive for this movie.
Yes!
Now I can sleep in peace. Since we're getting on the subject of pirates, Hook and his crew are so weak in this movie, which even includes Smee. Smee was Hook's crutches when it came to comedy, but he barely does anything funny, or anything at all. That back massaging scene wasn't funny. I literally had to look away from my screen. Even though Hook isn't very intimidating in the first movie, he's even more of a joke in this one. No, he's nothing but a joke. When he was manipulating Tinkerbell, I could actually believe that she would fall for it, but his manipulation on Jane was so petty, so fake, that I honestly couldn't take him seriously.
Good heavens! Run! Run for your lives! It's a little girl.
And instead of killing Peter Pan on the spot, when he actually has him defenseless for the first time, he leaves him tied up and tries to get him to walk the plank. You have him! Use your swords! Toss him into the ocean already! This visual scene that lasts for 10 seconds is so unnecessary and really strains my eyes. It's probably equally bad as the screenslaver stuff in The Incredibles 2. While Jane is tolerable most of the movie, there's so many moments that makes her so annoying and hard to root for. The gross out humor is, by far, my least favorite thing in this movie, right above the octopus, right above the pirates, and right above Jane. These moments, whether it's the burping, the farting, or the spitting, my god, the spitting, has no point whatsoever. It's actually really hard for me to edit this scene. Without purpose, the film feels like it's just for children. You know what? Let's just take a look at another green protagonist. The other green protagonist I reviewed a few days ago. Shrek has introduced farting, burping, and eating disgusting things. This is to show how different Shrek is compared to society, which sees him as a monster. Fiona burping is to get a shock from Shrek and Donkey so they slowly see Fiona as a different person and not a princess. In that dinner scene in the sequel, Shrek compliments Fiona's burp, which they both find funny, but it only makes Harold hate him even more. This is called purpose. Without purpose, these gross-out moments come out as childish, which makes the movie unenjoyable for an older audience. It's pretty common in movies, really, because writers apparently think that children won't be able to tell the difference between good quality and terrible content. I was 3 years old and I love The Incredibles. So with the likes and dislikes out of the way, it's time to rank the songs from worst to best. None of these aren't particularly special, and the song in first place wouldn't go within my 100 favorite Disney songs. In fifth and last place is I'll Try. We really didn't need a song for a scene like this, especially when it's so out of tune, and this pixie dust line had awful delivery.
And trust in pixie dust.
Fourth place, Do You Believe in Magic? So far, this is possibly the worst Disney sequel credit song. Third place, Things Lost Boys Do. The tune and voices go all over the place, and I get that it's supposed to be a song targeted for children, but it just doesn't work for me. Second place, Another Plan to Capture Peter Pan. Very short, but it's a nice tune. Second place, Second Star to the Right. This song is really charming, slow, and a great start to the movie, with the addition of the tune being very angelic. So that was my Peter Pan 2 review. It's half and half when it comes to being better than the original and being equal to it. Just by an inch. Just by a tiny rice source portion. 4 out of 10, I recommend it for babysitting. And with Peter Pan crossed off of my list,
Forever.
let's move on to the next Disney movie that I almost forgot exists, Lady and the Tramp.
We are Siamese, if you please.